live.
All right. Welcome to Strangeville, gang. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin Strange. I am a 20-year veteran of the underground. I am a cartoonist, novelist, and independent filmmaker. And I am here today to share my love of Outlaw Comics with you. And I'm joined by my friend, Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben, how you doing today, buddy?
Pretty good. And look, I'm all ready to do our simultaneous sip here. You know.
Oh yeah. Hang on. Let me get my sip. I'm classy enough. I have this very well used Ninja blender cup that I use as a cup at my house.
Yeah, this is I like this. Like start early in the morning.
Yeah, I was surprised you're on my time. We usually do these later, and I bitch and complain about how tired I am because I'm an early riser. I get going. I've already done all kinds of stuff today. I went and got a PO box for the channel today, Dr. Ben. So from now on, in the link, there will be a link in the description. Right, actually, it'll just be in the description. A post about our PO box. It is care of Kevin Strange, P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. I fucked it up. It's in the it's listed in the description there. That's P.O. Box number 5.
Just number 5. Okay. Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a small town, sir. Cottage Hills. Cottage Hills.
Cottage. The normal spelling for hills.
Yep.
Okay.
Illinois.
ION.
ILLINOIS.
Okay. Illinois.
Yeah. And it's 62018. And that is the P.O. box to send. You can send your gnarly comics. If you're an artist, you can send us any kind of, like, if you do dollar bin digging like we do here at the channel, gang, and you've got dupes or extras of them old school Image comics or any of that Marvel DC stuff or Outlaw comics like we're looking at today, and you would like to see those comic books reviewed on the channel, go ahead and send those to the P.O. box, care of Kevin Strange. I'll
just write. This is for my own records here to keep, you know.
And so we will be doing periodic mailbags of indie comics where we'll review your stuff that you send us, and also, like for instance, I'm looking for Evan Dorkin's Predator. What is it? Blood Feud? Is that the one that he wrote?
That might be.
Let me look that up real quick.
Blocked out Evan Dorkin from my vocabulary, so you know. Ever since he turned on me.
Let me look this up real quick.
You know, I can start us off a little bit too with this this Hero Illustrated that I picked up. This is from like 1994, but these things are fantastic because, as you mentioned, like Evan Dorkin, it's got Jill Thompson in here. Her and Evan Dorkin did that Beasts of Burden series, where it's like it's a gang of dogs. It's kind of like Scooby-Doo, you know. They solve mysteries and
Bad Blood. I'm looking for Predator Bad Blood. Where are you at? I've got to go back to my nope, that's still not it. Here we go. Now we're back. Yeah, Predator Bad Blood #1. I have numbers 2, 3, and 4, but I don't have #1. So if you've got an extra copy of Predator Bad Blood #1, written by Evan Dorkin laying around, send that to the P.O. Box. P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018. Let's talk about, well, hang on. We still got more shit to shill before we get started. The diggers are like, dude, we're 5 minutes in this video. We haven't even started yet. We are marching towards 1,000 subscribers. We have less than 200 subscribers to go. When we hit that precious 1,000 subscribers, I'm giving away a copy of my 164-page full-color graphic novel, Kevin Strange's Space Worms. It's a violent, bloody, sexy mess of a graphic novel by a singular creator, aka me, in the vein of Hart Fisher's Boneyard Press Outlaw Comics, which ties us right in to what we're talking about today. But before we get there, let's talk about your comics. And there's a link in the description to my Patreon where you can pick up 20 years worth of my comics, novels, and movies for only $3 a month. Consider becoming a patron today. Dr. Ben, what you got?
So I got my ash can for Let Us Get. This is the cover art for that, which of course is an homage to Shadowhawk and Vampirella, Creatures of the Night. This beautiful cover by Mark Texeria. I don't even know if we're allowed to show this on YouTube. Look at it. It's so much. It's so cute. Mark Texeria is one of the guys that's just, he doesn't get enough shine. But
censored by YouTube.
Yeah. So I've got ash can for this is at drben.substack.com. Should be the latest post. There might be another post up after it, but
link in the description to Dr. Ben's Substack.
And I'll be covering it on my YouTube here in a minute too. And
link in the description to Dr. Ben's YouTube in the description.
And once I finish with the actual crowdfund to do the first issue of Let Us Get, I'm going to try and get back to the relaunch story, the Tartarian Empire, which is sort of like my weird little manga set. It's got cat people, it's got giant knights with wings and crazy insane asylums. It's got this lady covered in bandages. What's going on? Like I started the first issue and giant dragons coming out of the, what I'm saying? Like there's so much stuff going on in this, but I kind of had to put it on hold, just like, like the world conditions got just kind of a bit much, and it was like I couldn't focus on this with all the craziness going on in the day-to-day stuff. I'm a news political junkie, so I mean, I had to kind of like put this on the back burner and focus on like true crime comic, and that's what I got going on. I'll be I every Wednesday, I'm on what is it, Patrick Quinlan's channel, PQ Vox, for our Comics Gate Commandos show. I am their spiritual guide in the land of comics over there. So,
and what do we got going on today, Dr. Ben? Why are we here? What are we doing here? Why are we alive?
Alive to the grace of God.
Why did we get up this morning, Dr. Ben?
Talk about Hart Fisher, basically. Let's talk about Hart Fisher, and like I said, I know you're more of a friend with him. You have your movies on his movie channel. You hang out with him. You guys are, So I saw this on a recent comic excursion. This old issue of Hero Illustrated, 1994, and I don't know how I even saw this. Just flipping through all this stuff, but like Frank Miller face to face with Hart Fisher. And this nice big interview with him. So 94 Frank Miller, he's an entirely different looking dude. I mean, he almost doesn't even look like the same.
I was watching a Frank Miller documentary last night about his, rise through comics and into eventually making. It was done around the era of the first Sin City movie, and then later in the documentary they showed a picture of him like more modern, and he wrinkled and crinkled real, like he aged so much in just a few years. Like that Frank Miller and the today's like that, like Frank Miller then looks like the grandson of Frank Miller now, which I guess.
He does.
I guess it's been 30 years, so
it's just like Frank Miller's two children like arguing over the stage here. Like.
Right. But speaking of 1994, let's set the stage a little bit for Hart Fisher. Speaking of 1994, I've got some Hart Fisher Boneyard Press comic books here. From and Boneyard Press is the world premier Outlaw Comics publisher. And what is an outlaw comic, Dr. Ben? How would you describe what an outlaw comic is?
I would say an outlaw comic would be something that doesn't care. It's probably filled with violence. That's what I would think. Maybe
I would say, ultra violence would be chief among the tenets of outlaw comics for sure.
Whatever it's going to be, it's going to have some sort of controversial.
It's going to be edgy
subject.
It's going to be edgy. It's going to be an edgy boy style comic book.
Right. That's what usually I think black and white like that is.
Hardcore black and white noodling.
Might have pornography, might not.
Usually contains pornography. I chose a selection of my Boneyard Press collection that has the least amount of pornography, so that we can show the maximum amount of pages here on YouTube. However, we are going to start doing patron only, like banned books, stuff like Mike Diana's Boiled Angel and some of the more controversial Hart Fisher stuff. We'll do Ed Piskor's Red Room on the behind the paywall. But for now, these are some more of the, I wouldn't say tame, but less pornographic Boneyard Press books that I have here. But I became familiar with Hart Fisher. I actually remember seeing him back on the Sally Jesse Raphael and like the Donahue and those style shows back in the 90s when he was doing his Jeffrey Dahmer comics. The families drug him onto the talk shows and berated him and tried to say he was exploiting their family members. He was trying to explain to him, like Jeffrey Dahmer is the bad guy. I'm not making him look good just because he's in a comic book. You're crazy. You people are crazy. Definitely look those up. Maybe I'll put a link in the description to one of those infamous Hart Fisher daytime talk show episodes, and you can see that for yourself. But more recently, I forgot all about him. I did not collect Boneyard Press Outlaw Comics when I was a kid. I'm not sure any of the comic book shops around here even carried the hardcore Boneyard Press. This was extreme stuff, and a lot of comic shops, especially Hart Fisher had a reputation. His Veronica number 5 actually got his Glenn Danzig Veronica number 5 actually got retailers arrested.
What?
For obscenity? Yeah, he actually comic shop owners got thrown in jail for carrying Veronica number 5. So Hart Fisher had a quite a reputation in the comic scene, and he also for some reason he did a lot of he was magazines loved to get him to do interviews with people. They did on the Cartoonist Kayfabe channel. They did the Hart Fisher Rob Liefeld interview, which was extremely uncomfortable because it was after Rob got fired / quit Image Comics, and it was I want to say it was his first public interview he had to do with Hart Fisher, who did not pull any punches about his own opinion on Rob Liefeld. So that was pretty funny. But Hart Fisher came back into my radar with Cartoonist Kayfabe. He did an outrageous interview with Jim Rugg on Cartoonist Kayfabe a couple of years ago, And it just like the guy, like all his like crazy conspiracy opinions and his anger towards the industry, towards getting canceled, towards cancel culture in general, towards the the social media literati. It just all spoke to me, and I just felt compelled to reach out and sent Hart, a message and told him, because he was promoting his American Horrors television channel, and I reached out to him and said, I'm an independent filmmaker. I have 7 feature films that are all hardcore, fucked up, outlaw style shit, and I'd love if you'd play some of my movies on your channel. Long story short, he did. We premiered my film Cockhammer, my feature-length film Cockhammer on his American Horrors Network last year. We'll put a link to the American Horrors Network in the description. This description is going to be full. This is going to be the biggest description we've had yet, with the PO box and the Hart Fisher videos and all of our links as well. So let me give you one final bit of introduction, and then I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Ben and let him read just as much of this interview as he wants to, and I'm going to flip through the books as he does so. But let me just read something to you real quick to really, if you're not familiar with Hart Fisher at all, and you've never heard of the Jeffrey Dahmer comics, and you don't know anything about this guy and how truly intense Hart Fisher the man is. And I've spoken to him many times on the phone, and he's exactly the same person in public as he is in private. You better believe that. And so I'm going to read you this is Rot and Decay, 2 of his Boneyard Press characters. And this is Doing Time with OJ. This is kind of the ashcan version of what will later be a larger graphic novel. Let me read to you his introduction here at the beginning. Sucker! You fucking snap! You fell for it again, the old gimmick title trick. Well, guess what? I've got your money, and the book isn't complete. It's just a fucking prelude for OJ's big bust out shipping in March. Hell, OJ's barely even in this book. Oh, aren't you burned? I'm laughing all the way to the bank. What a bunch of morons. Stop it. You're killing me. I'm tickled. A fanboy and his money. At least you didn't buy an image book. You probably laughed your ass off even through it, even though it's not wall-to-wall OJ. Am I right? I knew I was. Rotten Decay. I love those guys. The Holy Trinity of Doom. I love those guys. Jesus Christ, what a goof. Great characters, but none of them could have sold on their own, so I tricked you. It was for your own good. Admit it. You loved it, didn't you? Don't worry. OJ's big bust out will be full of OJ. I promise. Honest. You fucking sucker. Hart Fisher, publisher. So if that doesn't wet your whistle about the kind of guy we're talking about here today, I don't know what will. That's Hart Fisher in a fucking nutshell. Dr. Ben, are you wearing your headphones over there? Because I'm getting a tremendous amount of feedback in my headphones.
Yeah, I've got the.
I don't know why that happens. When I'm on here with you, I just get all throughout the fucking headphones, and it's me. It's my voice feedbacking into my own headphones. So I don't know what the fuck that's about. I've got this shit turned down pretty low.
Sometimes I've noticed, like when you record on StreamYard or when you're using StreamYard, like sometimes it'll sound like it's all messed up on your end, but then the recording is clear, crystal clear. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I think it's just
it's still distracting when I'm trying to do a Hart Fisher impression. Read it's whatever.
That made me think of when he mentioned fanboys. Right. Remember how that used to be like, you never hear that nowadays. Like they don't refer to people as fanboys anymore.
Right.
Back in the 90s, that was like an insult.
It was like calling a wrestling fan a mark.
Yeah.
You call the comic somebody that's too into the kayfabe of comic books, you called them a fanboy. And a
Spider-Man fanboy is what he is.
Yeah. So we get this character, this crazy Hart Fisher maniac, for some reason, interviewing Frank Miller in '94. Where's Frank Miller in '94? Is he on Daredevil? Has he done? Oh, he's done all that. He's already past Batman.
Yeah,
he's a legend. So it's legendary Frank Miller post Batman, post Dark Knight Returns, post Batman Year One, right? Didn't we say that was '93? when we did coverage on
yeah.
on that. You can look that up on the channel if you want to watch the coverage of the Batman, the Frank Miller Batman trilogy. We covered it at length, like 3 hours worth of coverage on the 3+ hours worth of coverage on the Batman Frank Miller Batman trilogy. But what do you make of this? What do you make of this interview, Dr. Ben? Let's get into it.
It's pretty neat. Like he starts it off, like he explains his situation. I'll pull this up so they can kind of see it a little bit better too, the actual words. So the dilemma: how to interview Frank Miller, one of the most important comics creators in the last decade, in a manner that would save him and his readers from covering the territory he's covered 100 times before. After all, there's only so many times you can ask, so who are your influences? Enter Hart Fisher, the head of Boneyard Press. Like Miller, Fisher knows what it's like to be under a microscope. Even more than Miller in some ways, his comics about the likes of Jeffrey Dahmer and Rush Limbaugh have made him the darling of the tabloid talk show circuit, where unchecked hysteria tends to supersede reasonable discourse. And he knows Miller's work well enough to know that asking about influences or favorite comics is just a waste of time, especially when you can ask him about his favorite kind of beer. Okay, so what I'm saying? Like, it tells me that it's just going to be like, it's not going to be like, yeah. How many interviews have you read or seen where, like, that is like, they just have these like kind of canned questions for people, and especially when it's like you have someone like Frank Miller, you have like just like someone who's just like they put him in here, one of the most important or influential creators, like, well, so what kind of comics do you think influence your Daredevil and your Sin City comics? What influenced you? You know what I mean? Like, you just want to smack them for stuff like that. Like,
right.
So, and I don't know if this is exact. This must be like after they maybe said hello. He starts off, I'll tell you, your phone number and address are one of the best kept secrets in this industry. It's like you send guys around breaking kneecaps if they give out your phone number. Well, it's the old Irish mafia trick. What can I tell you? Keeps the wackos away. So are you working on covers for other people right now? No, I'm working on just the Sin City covers. Yeah, I just finished up 3 covers for the second printings of the first 3 issues, and I'm working the story that I'm serializing in Diamond Previews. Serializing a story in Diamond Previews.
I wonder which one that one was. Was it standalone, maybe, or is it what got collected into the next Sin City?
Because I used to get the old like previews books, or I used to get the Advanced Comics books. That's what it is. I didn't get previews. I got we had the other one there. Huh. It's pretty much Sin City all the time. I'm also working on the Martha Washington series. I hope the second one, and one of the things, like, they reference like wackos, right? I'm just going to skip ahead because I didn't see where this was in the interview anyways. But we've got this quote from Big Blurb. I got 4 death threats when Electrica died. I came home and there was this huge stack of mail from Marvel Comics. As I read it, it got stranger and stranger. Now, so this is 94, right? This is creators that are already, are getting. That's not like they got a death threat. What the, you know what I mean? Like, that's just kind of like a sort of like a funny anecdote. Already at this point, 1994, it's already just a funny anecdotal thing that, So that's what I'm saying. Like,
comics has always been unhinged is the lesson to learn here. And you really, the more you dig back into that 90s stuff, the more you realize it was all, the industry was exactly like this, but it wasn't on the internet yet.
He's talking about different like noir movies and books, James M. Cain or Jim Thompson novels. You know what I mean? Saying like it goes over, because I don't like to give out like the whole whatever the thing is. I mean, maybe what we should do is I'll take a picture of each page of this and send it over to you, and you can just like post it on the community tab or whatever. If they want to like sit and like read the actual, you know what I'm saying, like every page. But and this is this other main quote that sticks out. What bugs me most is when people do a hard-boiled story and then try to make it politically correct.
Oh yeah, that didn't age well. That didn't age well, Mr. Miller. Yeah, we need to cancel Old Man Miller now. You can read some more. Definitely read some more. Find another spot in there and read it out. We barely scratched the surface.
He's asking about Crying Freeman too. That's what I'm saying. Like they're talking about manga and like all kinds of stuff.
Dig into it. We got time.
I want to see what he says about Crying Freeman, because I've bought a bunch of these Crying Freeman mangas just because I thought they looked cool. They're like Japanese like gangster noir comics or something, or manga. What comics are you? He does ask him, what comics are you reading? Also at the same point, if you can't say,
well, it's not the influences. He's asking him what he's reading, not what influenced his style. So I guess that's
right,
differentiating the two questions. He's not fanboying out here. Maybe the longer he talked to Frank, the more he fanboyed out.
Oh, and he says that he inks everything too. What? He says, I was told you ink everything. You don't have guys who go in and fill in all that black space? No, it's a big egomaniac thing. I have big brushes. I've got one called the mop I use for the huge areas. What comics are you reading? What would you go out and lay your money down for? Or does everyone just send you free comics? Dark Horse sends me everything they publish. DC still sends me everything they publish. Marvel doesn't. What do I go and buy? I love Hellboy. That's one gorgeous book. I like Hate. Keep an eye out in case there's anybody else doing crime comics. Well, so what do you think of Crying Freeman and Sanctuary? Again, up and down. Sometimes I have trouble connecting with those. Sometimes it's just coming from such a different place as an American. Crying Freeman, I enjoyed a lot of the first one, but tended to get less interested as it went along. I haven't really read Sanctuary, just took a look. I'm letting them stack up. I think the mistake I've made with some of that stuff is reading it as it came out instead of reading 1,000 pages like the Japanese do. I'm looking forward to reading it. I've got a nice stack of those to look at. The Viz people are kind enough to send me everything they do. I grew up on Mickey Spillane. It's my father's favorite writer, and all I heard were stories of Mickey pounding out stories at the beach. Tiger Man and Mike Hammer were the men, and stuff like playing it for all she's worth, and she's worth plenty. A lot of Sin City seemed too Mickey Spillane and not enough Frank Miller to me. Do you feel that way? And that's all Hart's Fisher for him, like bringing up like right. Mickey Spillane. He goes, well, a lot of Sin City seemed too Mickey Spillane and not enough Frank Miller. He says, well, if it felt that way, I wouldn't have done it. So, okay.
That's the thing about Hart, and that's what he did in the Rob Liefeld interview. He'll just insult you to your face and see how you react. And I told you that a few streams ago. I think one of our live streams, I was busting your balls to see how you could take it, and you take it just. And that's just guys like me and Hart. Me and Hart are very similar. We have very similar mindsets, and yeah, we like to fuck with people and see what they're made of. And if they get uncomfortable and bitch out at the slightest bit of pushback, and I tend to only hang out with guys that can handle a little bit of pressure.
You have to, you know what I'm saying? Like the way the world is, if you take everything dead serious, you're gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're not gonna make it. Like you got to be able to just laugh and yeah, he's just like, just don't. I think he does answer me. He says, I'm doing what I can and having a ball. I felt the voice of this character worked out. worked out real well, where it was writing itself. As far as the Spillane reference, I would never deny he's my favorite writer, and he's bound to have a big effect on how I approach this stuff.
Now I wonder if he's ever talked about that as his influence, or if Hart just called him out to his face for ripping off this crime writer, and now he's just like, well, yeah, I'd never deny that. I wonder if Frank had ever talked about that before. That's interesting. I wonder if there's Sin City interviews out there where he references that guy as a heavy influence, or if Hart just sussed that out of his work. That's interesting.
I mean, I would think that'd just be. I've got to read some Mickey. I've got a Mickey Spillane book too, and I know that was one of those techno comics, wasn't it? Mickey Spillane's something or other for that techno comics group.
Yeah,
but there was like just a certain for like noir stuff. Like there was just a certain kind of like group of like different writers and like movie directors and stuff that all had that same. Like that noir feel, like for Sin City, like when I rewatch like the Sin City movie, like it's like all of the like the cliches and stereotypes and like all the just the things that always show up in noir, like gangster movies and all that. It's like he took all of those and just like turned them into like a superhero style, like. And like that is it like the opening scene where like Marv is getting hit by that lady? She's driving a car into him,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like that's like that's Batman, that's Superman, but like trapped in like a noir. It's not like superpowers. It's just. So that's what I'm saying. Like it makes me want to read some Mickey Spillane to find out like.
How much of that's ripped off?
Right. Because I like
out of his books.
Yeah, because I like Jim Thompson and like there's a couple other weird little like crime writers I've read, but it's interesting. It's just to see like what, because he is like then saying like what his influences are without him asking them. You know what I mean? Like he's asking what he's reading, and he's saying like, I think your stuff reminds me of Mickey Spillane, and he's like, well, yeah, that is really my big influence. Like that's my favorite writer. So, you know what I'm saying? It's like he got the answers to the questions that, because I mean, like if you get your interview subject to like actually sit and like really put their thought into answering just all those like kind of like cliche questions, that's an accomplishment too. You know what I'm saying? Where like if they don't just like brush it off like all the good stuff, that's me,
Right. Let's do some more. This is awesome. Let's dig in a little bit. How much more is there? How many more pages are there in this interview?
This is the other. That's what I wanted to read to this bit, because this is where it covers. He really gets into. Yeah, you'll see. So that's, he kind of goes back and forth here just about. He asks him, if he read the Richard Stark novels, the Parker books. Oh yeah. They really reminded me of the Spillane stuff. I still dig those Mike Hammer books and read them from time to time. When you're sitting down and drawing or writing, what kind of music do you listen to? Never listen to music when I'm writing.
Yeah, I can't listen to music when I'm writing either. I can listen to like atmospheric music with no lyrics, but if someone's like blabbing in my ears, talking to me, I can't write very well. I think I did. You know what? No, I did. I wrote my entire Texas Chainsaw Mantis novel in a McDonald's, listening to Iron Maiden records. So I guess I had Bruce screaming in my ears the whole time. But I managed to. I don't know. I still managed to write just fine. I guess maybe because there's so many long interludes in Iron Maiden that are instrumental and like solos that Bruce doesn't actually sing all that much on those, especially the later albums where it gets into like they become more like prog metal, where it's like 8-minute songs, but only 4 minutes of the songs have like singing in it. So anyway, that's a rant for another time.
He asks him, "What about Now my thing's there. What about when you're drawing? Various. I don't have it. I don't have any musical taste. All right, lay it out for a second. When you go into the CD store, what do you plunk down your hard-earned money for? Old stuff, Louis Jordan, the big band stuff, the old jazz stuff. Both. When I'm in a real odd mood, I'll listen to trashy country music. Whoa, we talking like David Allan Coe here? We're talking Merle Haggard, stuff like that. It's got to be hard-edged, unhappy stuff.
Can you just imagine him listening to just like that old, just fucking miserable country music while he's dashing out old Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight Returns, and he's just listening to that sad, sappy fucking country music? That's awesome.
I could see that. Yeah. All right. So this is where this is post-game and now. This is where I was kind of confused initially, but this is still them going back and forth. This has been damn strange. Well, I'm not a pro at this. This is my first interview, and
why would you just say that to somebody's face? This interview's just been damn strange.
Yeah, he's just like, I'm not a pro. This is my first interview.
What?
That's what you need to get a hold of. Hart. Was his first interview really with Frank Miller, or was that just I'm like, could that
Hang
be
on,
like
who says this is damn strange? Is that Frank Miller?
Yeah.
Is saying it's been strange, and then Hart saying, "Oh, well, okay." I thought it was the other way around. I thought you were saying this. There's no way this is Frank Miller's first interview. So why would they send Hart Fisher, the bad boy from Boneyard Press, Outlaw Comics master, to for the very first interview ever go do legendary Frank Miller? That's crazy. Yeah, we'll have to talk to Frank. We'll have to talk to Frank. We'll have to talk to Frank about this. We'll have to talk to Hart about this.
Frank, hey.
We'll call the retirement home and see if Frank's available for about 15 minutes before his nap.
He's doing Ronin. He just did that. You haven't seen the new Ronin book he did? Oh my gosh. I've only got 2 issues of it, but it's fantastic.
Is it that bizarre modern style that he's been using? That minimalist?
It's good.
Right.
It's crazy stuff, but it's it's him and other guys, him doing layouts, and is it Philip Tan? I think Philip Tan and Daniel Henricks doing the tones and inks and whatnot. But then one issue or a couple issues, he did all the stuff. That's what I'm saying. It's good. It's good.
Let me hold your hand, Grandpa. No, do it like this, Grandpa.
Okay, so he says this. That's what I'm saying. This is my first interview. That's what we got to find out. I'd prefer to just have a conversation with somebody. To me, that's more interesting and a lot more human. But gee, I didn't have to use any of my lines that I've said 100 times. I wanted to especially thank you for not asking what my influences are. Oh God, I already know. I've read all those interviews a million times. Who cares? I already know Mickey Spiegel's your favorite writer. How are you introduced to him? Did somebody give it to you? My dad crammed it down my throat. My older brother was into them, so the paperbacks were lying around the house. I just devoured them. I was just a kid at the time. There's something about the power of his narrative just drove me nuts. The fact that he was willing to let his lead hero practically be a monster. The plan I had from the beginning for the first Sin City was to take Mike Hammer a step further. That's what it seemed like. He seemed like a psychotic Hammer. And it started that way. He turned into something else as I was working on it. The more I worked on it, the more I realized he really was a barbarian. More than that, a psychotic barbarian. I put it in the narrative that he probably should have been born as Conan's sidekick or something.
That's awesome.
That's the downfall of the hard-boiled guy. He's so soft in the center. He's protecting the softness. That's why they fall for the dame with the hips and the pouty lips begging for a kiss. Yeah, there's certain things that got to be there. What bugs me most when they do a hard-boiled detective story is when people do a hard-boiled detective story and try to make it politically correct. Oh God, I hate that. Like the Robert B. Parker books. That's just who I was thinking of. I'm sorry. A loner guy who goes out and busts heads doesn't make much of a liberal. There's no way. Whenever they try to burn turn Batman into a role model. All of a sudden, you got this guy who dresses up like a bat, beats the shit out of criminals, and he gives you a little lecture on proper social behavior.
I mean, that's really where we're at today, right? That's what, like Gen Z and millennials, they don't understand Batman because Batman doesn't understand Batman. They're like, well, wait a minute, isn't this guy the bad guy? He's out there beating these mentally handicapped people up, like people with mental illness. He just keeps beating on them. He lets them back in the streets and he beats on them again. It's like, yeah, that's the point. Batman isn't a good guy. He's a vigilante for a reason. Otherwise, he'd just be a cop.
Yeah, the guys writing this stuff have no clue what they're writing about. I know what it's like to get punched in the mouth. I don't think a lot of these guys have been out of their homes. They just don't get it. And somewhere along the line, the wankers decided that kids were reading comics. I gotta pull this. I can get it up closer to without hitting the microphone with it. There we go. Somewhere along the line, the wankers decided that kids were reading comics. They had to be little indoctrination leaflets on proper social behavior when the most basic wish of your character is as malevolent as Batman's. The guy dresses up like a villain, for Christ's sake. Then he's deputized by the commissioner. I got knocked by people who said my Batman was right-wing. I always saw him as a terrorist. Criminals are a superstitious, cowardly lot, so I'll scare the pants off them. I think that really hurt superheroes over the years, ever since the 50s, when the whole industry decided to go chicken shit. One of my guys, this is Hart, one of my guys, Michael C. Diana, just got busted for creating, producing, and distributing obscene materials down in Florida. Some of his work is admittedly hardcore, but hardly obscene. I don't know
about that. It's pretty fucking obscene.
He got sentenced to 3 years probation, a $3,000 fine, take a journalism course in ethics at his own expense, undergo psychotherapy, perform 8 hours a week of community service, have no contact with anyone under 18, and he's not allowed to draw. People think they live in a free country.
This is 1994, gang.
He's not allowed to draw.
He's the only American cartoonist that's ever been told by a judge, you can't draw anymore, man. Hey, stop drawing.
No more drawing.
It's too fucked up. I love it. He's one of my big influences, Mike Diana, in trying to, Hart and Mike, trying to make my stuff as hardcore as possible. I want to be, with my stuff, I want to be known as the modern Mike Diana.
What is this Paul Simon? He says, I'd like to start the committee to establish the difference between fiction and reality for the sake of Janet Reno, Paul Simon, and all those other censors out there. Who's Paul, Simon and Garfunkel?
I don't know. Or maybe a senator by the same name. Or maybe Simon and Garfunkel were crying about comic books.
I'm going to go with that until I hear otherwise. We're going to see the TV people bow down and show their ass for Janet Reno.
All right, I'd say that's a good place to stop. Let's wrap it up there. Do you have any other big pieces you want to hit, or you think we pretty much kind of got the gist of this?
Well, just this. I'll read this last.
All right.
Bit from Frank here. He says they already did. I mean, come on, they're planking on the so-called advisory. They're going for a rating system. What kills me is comic books. Because here they're barely noticing us. We're getting a minimum level of flack. Now, for each individual who does get hurt, like Diana or the shop owner, it's a very serious big business that we've got to fight. I'm talking in the overall sense. This ain't the 50s. There's no sign it's going to be the 50s. But without any damn good reason, everybody's talking ratings again. It drives me crazy. First off, there doesn't seem to be any serious threat. Second, if there is, let's give them a fight this time. We've got the First Amendment on our side. Last I heard, it was pretty potent for printed matter. All this fear is generated from within the industry. And the comics buying god, everybody's waiting. Everybody's wailing. They're coming to get us. They're coming to get us. Who? Where? The last time we almost had a rating system was because some stupid televangelist waved a comic book in front of a camera for 5 minutes out of a 9-hour rant. I wish people would show some spine about all of this.
That's, I mean, think about that in the context of today's like super leftoid, censor happy, triggered mama's boy culture. I mean, Frank Miller sounds like he might as well be on the campaign trail for Donald Trump in that last part there. You know, liberals used to have a fucking spine, like normal left, like normal liberals on the center left used to have a fucking half a bit of common sense, and they could understand that. Like Hart Fisher, Frank Miller, you, Dr. Ben, and me, Kevin Strange, you know, we're all more like center left than most of than you know the most of the people that push us over to the, you know, into the category of the right, because of all this fucking leftist censorship that we go through in the modern era through, you know, mainly through social media. The excuse is, well, you can't post that on social media. They're a private company and they can do what they want.
Well, I don't know about being on the left, but I do know it's definitely just, it's progressed from this point. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
There is no center anymore is the thing. Like, no one is a centrist. It's all extreme left, or you're either a Nazi or a communist, and there's no middle these days. And listening to these guys have this nuanced conversation, these guys, you know, again, the four of us, you, me, Frank, and Hart, all fall in various parts of the middle. Like, none of us are extreme in our beliefs. And we used to be able to, before social media, you used to be able to sit and have conversations like this because we were all like pretty similar in mindsets, mainly because we're artists, we're creators, we work in the entertainment community, and so we all have similar sensibilities. Today, there couldn't be a bigger divide between, say, a Chuck Dixon and a Dan Slott. They're so far to the extremes that you couldn't even get them in a room together to have a conversation about comics if you paid them. They wouldn't accept the money. They would be afraid to get canceled. Well, you know, the Dan Slotts would be afraid to get canceled by the community for taking money to talk to somebody like Chuck Dixon.
Maybe if I don't know. I think that within a couple of years we're going to see Dan Slott writing Horseboy for the Ripperverse is what I think.
I think we need to get out of here. And you guys, gang, you guys can pick up this issue of, what is it called? Heroes what?
Hero
Illustrated to finish off that interview if you'd like to finish reading it. Fascinating stuff between Hart Fisher and Frank Miller there. And definitely check out the I'll have links to the if you were intrigued by that and by sort of the flip through here of some of those Boneyard Press Outlaw Comics, there will be a link to the American Horrors Network in the description for you to pick up Boneyard Press comics directly from the man Hart Fisher himself. I got these in his mystery box, and they're all signed. He signed every single one of them. He was doing, last I checked, he was doing mystery boxes over there for $25, and you just get a random assortment of Boneyard Press comics and DVDs and little trinkets here and there. Dr. Ben, final thoughts.
Yeah, I like it. I think, like I said, I think it's just fascinating to me that, like I said, it's the same, so much of the same things that we see today. Why did I close it? So I loved that, like that shot of the him saying he was getting death threat. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same discussion today. Like, nothing is really, it hasn't progressed. They're still arguing more extremes. Neither side has been a victor. But
that's why they killed Ed Piskor, and that's why you guys are stuck with us till they kill us too. Dr. Ben, throw the P.O. box up there one last time. Oh, we're going to talk about Neil Gaiman. We're going to have a little discussion about Neil Gaiman. He's in some hot water himself these days. We definitely want to do a dive into Mr. Gaiman. P.O. Box number 5, Cottage Hills, Illinois, 62018, care of Kevin Strange. If you've got your own gnarly outlaw comics that you want us to review on the channel, we'll do mailbag days a couple times a month, talk about your comics. If you've got extra, dollar bin dupes laying around that you'd like to see us review, Image Comics, Marvel, DC, the like, some of that old Valiant shit, Malibu Comics, Top Cow Productions, any of that stuff, I'm specifically looking for Predator Bad Blood #1, written by Evan Dorkin. If you can, if you got a spare issue of that laying around, toss it our way at the PO box. We care about comics, apparently.
Care about comics.
Yeah. So I mean, I hope I see you guys at the dollar bin. We'll see you guys next time. What do you say, Dr. Ben?
Keep on digging.